Welcome back, and you're watching Market Fatafat on ET now, and we are amidst the earnings season, and we have a whole host of managements lined up as well. And to talk about their numbers, now we are joined by Rajendra Singh Pawar, Chairman and Founder of NIIT Group, to take us through what we should be expecting from the company going forward as well. A very good afternoon to Mr. Pawar. Thank you so much for joining in with us on ET now. Mr. Pawar, I would actually want to start by talking about the revenue mix of the company and the segment-wise performance of the company. If you could take us through that, especially the management consultancy and professional services, that has seen the contribution from that has been seen increasing, and that has been over a period of a couple of quarters as well. So do you think this trend will continue? What is the expectation in terms of the revenue mix?
Well, thank you first of all. Thanks for having me here. So if you've seen the results, then we do find that the shock that the IT sector gave to the training industry in terms of hiring figures a quarter ago, little more than a quarter ago, the company has handled that well, and we're coming out of it with a QOQ growth, though the size of the market remains shrunk, at least for the short term. And also, I think in terms of profitability, EBITDA, which was minus 9.5 crore, is now minus 6.3 crore. So we see an improvement going forward. And at the PAT level versus minus 9.4, we are at 2.2 crores plus. So we see that perhaps there's a bottoming out happening of the shock that came from the IT industry and its tightening of the belt in terms of hiring. And so the bigger sector which we deal with, of course, is IT, but we also now have a significant part of the training business for the banking sector, and the BFSI sector in terms of hiring and training is doing well, continues to do well. And we see that with the main banks doing massive expansion of wealth managers, and some of them in terms of branches as well, we see that healthy growth will continue. On the IT side, we see that this huge change that is happening across the world with new technologies, with the concerns and excitement about Gen AI. There is a curiosity to learn more about new technologies, and there's a demand. There is short-term demand for advanced technical skills,
right?
While this whole area of adding people is somewhat slow. So that's the change we see.
Right. Point taken, Mr. Pawar. Good afternoon. This is Cheryl also joining in the conversation. And since you actually spoke about training in your answer, I wanted to ask you, last quarter, you had actually said that the training volume is expected to pick up gradually during the year with growth in the second half of FY24. And you're also expecting a double-digit growth for FY24 with margin improvement. If you could tell us, where are you on that particular statement now? Are you seeing an improvement much better before the H2 of FY24? Has things changed on that particular front?
Not much more before, not much earlier, because I think you are reading the same news that we are about hiring. You're hearing the same news about concerns of the economy globally. Those concerns remain. However, as I said, the banking side is doing well. That is not as challenged as IT hiring is. And we are beginning to see that IT companies, as against the generic addition of people, is very busy retraining their people to deal with the newer things which are emerging. So H2 will, yes, of course, be better. We have seen what we think is the bottom. And we have to, like the Chinese say, you have to cross the stream by feeling the pebbles when such things happen. That's what exactly we are doing. Have to be light-footed, have to keep looking for changes, and use this opportunity to change. So, for example, we see the role of AI in learning. Phase one, just the curiosity about it and what people should do, which NIIT has done on literacy front for decades, but also then on building hard skills to incorporate these newer technologies to make learning more effective. So we see this panning out as we go forward, as the volumes also come back in the second half.
Pawar, and one more thing, wanted to know during the quarter, what are these new contracts that have been added this quarter, and contribution from your top clients, if you could give us an indication and a number on that?
Well, we are beginning to get from the corporations. In the IT sector, the contracts are to do with retraining their people at larger scale. In the banking sector, it's about net addition of people at a reasonably large scale. So most of the contracts which are emerging in our business with enterprises are around reskilling and new technologies for the sector in the IT space and for addition of people in the banking space. So those are becoming, I think, progressively larger as we go forward. And the consumer sentiment in terms of learners, particularly youngsters who are looking for careers, they obviously are concerned because the sector has not added people or has been very slow on adding people. So there we expect that as the new technology plays out, which is where I think talent is being sought even by the IT sector, people are wanting to learn those newer things, and that's where we see more and more interest coming. And that, as we see, will pan out much more clearly in the second half of this year.
Point taken. Thank you so much, Mr. Pawar, for joining us on the show. We'll leave it there because since it's earnings season, a lot of earnings are trickling in. And that was Mr. Pawar of NIIT Group talking about the earnings for NIIT Limited. But let's